That's it.
I know I was behind.
So did we work it out, or should I? I'm good now? That's good. Okay, see you in a little while, everybody.
Hooray, here we are. Here we are. Today there were 200 people in the small town of Conway. There were 400 in East Hampton, Tousley was saying. Robbie, there were 2,000 in Brattleboro. It's a serious national day, isn't it? It's really, we're going to feel our power together. Pete did that through singing. And this Legacy of Pete Seeger program that I'll tell you a bit more about in a moment has been in the works for a year. Now, we care a lot that everybody has a comfortable place to be. So I want to pause any announcements and let's just see if we can squeeze in more people. So if you have space next to you, put up a finger, one or two. There was a rumor that hello in the balcony. The balcony has space for two. So be looking for people's hands. So over on the side, is there a space for one over there? I see a finger, another finger here. So we're gonna, before we do anything else, we're gonna do squeezing and see what we can do. And during this moment, turn off any devices and just turn up your excitement. So again, we've got one there, we've got another over there. Also, if you want to sit on the floor, over here there's space. And let me tell you what happened. So let me just ask. Here's what happened. The hands-off site, we capped it at 300, but for some reason, more people began being able to get through the site. So we did our best to try to have a comfortable place for everyone. So the ensemble welcomes you, and sorry if I hope the wall is comfortable over there, and we're thinking of you all. Let's just talk a practical thing. So there's just a few bathrooms. There's stairs down there. So here's the weird idea. We can't all wait for intermission, right? What a mess that would be. So you are welcome to go now. Someone saves your seat. You are welcome when musicians are setting up to leave and return, at little moments. And so that's how it will work. This cottonwood flute was made by Barry Whitecrow Higgins, who lived in Greenfield. I play it to connect us to the identity of this place as a Pocumtuck homeland. In fact, let's do a bit of tuning up. So just over there at Great Falls, that was the place where for thousands of years, Joe Gravlin calls them peace festivals. So the Sokol, the Wampanoag, the Nipmuc, all the different tribal nations would come, people would swap seeds. So it's so close to where we are right now. Year after year, there was a peace festival until, as you've heard, in 1619, the settler massacre of 300 people. But what I'd like to say is we're turning the light back on. So we are in that legacy. We are claiming our legacy. The opposite of violence is connection. And the way Pete thought of it is he talked about, oh, had I a golden thread and needle so fine, I would weave a magic strand of rainbow design. So let's take a moment to weave that strand. I'll call us back with the flute, but I think it would be exciting for you to wave to people and feel really bonded with everybody who's here. And as you do that, we're connecting to people all over the earth who know that peace is the way we were made. So please greet people, wave to each other, say hello, stand up if you want, see someone you've never seen before. Thank you. If you know this song, join it as a callback. Oh, had I a golden thread and needle so fine, I would weave a magic strand of rainbow design, of rainbow design. Thank you for greeting and for stitching that rainbow thread with each other. This is the moment when we're going to be thanking All Souls Church. It's a force in this community. Its commitment to social justice. They decided, this being their 200th year of their congregation's existence, that this whole event is rent-free. Yes. It's a good time to thank Matt Goulet for his wizardry with sound and recording. He is also doing that as a gift today. Members of All Souls, if you're a member, either stand up or wave, and we just thank you, Rob Peck and Kate Mason. We just thank you so much. Okay, we're experiencing a first today, and we're so glad you're here for this. Let me explain why. Never before has there been a presentation of Pete Seeger's words interlaced with song. And there's really only one person who could have accomplished that, and that's Adam Morse, who lives in Great Falls. He's just an amazing researcher. You'll learn about his podcast. It's called There Is a Season. It's a Pete Seeger podcast dedicated to uncovering Pete's music. So let me give you context. So Adam is always listening. His grandfather knew Pete. He's like, what are the things important? He said, when Woody Guthrie died, there was a script performed by musicians at Carnegie Hall and the Hollywood Bowl. So Adam said, what if we did one for Pete? That's happening today. It's just amazing. I want to thank also Michael Nix, who's been a big part, Yosl, Kurland. I'm Sarah Pirtle. The four of us have been the team planning this. And of course, please join us 6 p.m. over on the green for a singing standout. So it's a full day of events, and the importance of hands off. We're just thinking of, we're telling each other today that we're in this for the long haul. So please savor every moment. We will feel directly Pete's lifelong commitments, gain inspiration for our struggle ahead. Thank you for being here. Adam Morse, but first, take a look at the screen.
Technology should be put to jobs that need to be done, and very...
It's the other one. No, it's the other one. It's black and white.
What I put into the song, a couple songs tonight, most explicitly, that old spiritual, God gave Noah the rainbow sign, no more water but fire next time. Because I really do believe here, you and me and a lot of other people sitting here in this hall together with many different backgrounds, and yet we were able to sit down side by side and have a lot of fun singing together. Whether we were Catholic or Protestant or Jewish, or whether our parents came from Europe or Asia or Africa. And I don't see any solution to the world but this, that is, the rainbow sign. God said all these colors can be side by side, just as beautiful as anything, and if you don't learn to get along, there's going to be fire next time.
From here on out, about 95% of the narration you will hear will be Pete's words. When it comes to folk music revivals, I have had my doubts. Take a revival song like Michael Row the Boat Ashore. The song comes from a section of America rich in African-American folk song, the Georgia Sea Islands. Here is a song I sang only half well. When you think of how truly magnificent it must have been when done by a bunch of sweating black people rowing ashore from Sullivan's Island to the mainland 150 years ago, it must have been an absolutely magnificent thing. The raw voices in the formal sense, but superbly trained voices in the sense they've been singing all their lives, making up new verses and laughing as they think of a new verse to it. Who is Michael? Is it the Archangel Michael? The Michael at the oar? It's full of fluid ambiguity. The sunlight beating down and the original situation probably would be something unforgettable. In 1867, Charles Pickard Ware grabbed his pencil and paper and said, "I must get this down." So then in his book, Slave Songs of the United States, comes out and sits on the shelf. 90 years later, Tony Salatin goes through the book page by page, He shrewdly selects 3 verses out of 15 or 20. He teaches the song to me, and I teach it to the Weavers. We went to Carnegie Hall singing it. I realized that my own singing of it is kind of pale and wishy-washy compared to what it once was. It makes me wonder, is it possible to revive folk music? Yes, it is possible. We can try. All you can do in this world is try, and a good attempt at trying is sure better than never having tried. Andrew Morse, Andrew Fries, and David Bernz.
Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Sister, help trim the sail, hallelujah. Oh, sister, help to trim the sail, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Jordan River is deep and wide, hallelujah. Milk and honey on the other side, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Oh, Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Jordan's river is chilly and cold, hallelujah. It chills the body but not the soul, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael's boat is a music boat, hallelujah. Michael's boat is a music boat, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. One more time, let these walls resound, hallelujah. And one more time for that whole world around, hallelujah. All right, come on. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. One more time. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael, row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Thank you, that was great. I was born in New York City in 1919. As a child, I was allowed to bang or tootle on any musical instrument that struck my fancy. At age 8, I got a ukulele. My roommate and I gave a performance of sea shanties for the rest of the school. We especially liked the one about the drunken sailor. My brother and I would harmonize on Christmas carols, school and camp songs, anything. But it never occurred to me to try to make a living from it. In 1935, I was 16 years old, playing tenor banjo in the school jazz band. I was less interested in studying the classical music that my parents taught at Juilliard. But my father was a musicologist, and it was through him that I first got interested in American folk music and became conscious of the immensity of the field. In 1935, a good deal of song collecting was being done under the auspices of different government agencies such as the Resettlement Administration. Through the work of these agencies, the famous Library of Congress collection was first built up. My father, as an expert in several branches of musical scholarship, was involved in these projects, and I accompanied him on one field trip to North Carolina. At the Asheville Square Dance and Ballad Festival, I fell in love with the old-fashioned five-string banjo, rippling out a rhythm to one fascinating song after another. I liked the rhythms. I liked the melodies, time-tested by generations of singers. I liked the words. Compared to the trivialities of the popular songs my brothers and I formerly harmonized, the words of these songs had all the meat of human life in them. They sang of heroes, outlaws, murderers, fools. They weren't afraid of being tragic instead of just sentimental. They weren't afraid of being scandalous instead of giggly or cute. Above all, they seemed frank, straightforward, honest. By comparison, it seemed to me that too many art songs were concerned with being elegant, and too many pop songs were concerned with being clever. In 1936, I tried learning some of this style of music.
Did you ever see a muskrat Sally Ann dragging its thick tail through the sand, picking a banjo, Sally Ann? I'm gonna marry you, Sally Ann. 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 Well, I'm gonna marry you, Sally Ann. Yeah. In Sandyland, I make my living in Sandyland. Make my living in Sandyland. I'm gonna marry you, Sally Ann. 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 Well, I'm gonna marry you, Sal, Sal. I'm gonna marry you, Sally Ann. I'm gonna marry you, Sal, Sal. I'm gonna marry you, Sally Ann. I'm gonna marry you. I'm gonna marry you, Sally Ann. I'm gonna marry you. I'm gonna marry you, Sally Ann.
When I dropped out of college in my sophomore year, I wanted to be a journalist, but months of knocking on doors brought no job. It was the dirty 30s, and there was lots of unemployment. A school teacher relative said she could pay me all of $5 for coming to sing for the children. It seemed like stealing to take money for something I always done for fun. Still does. I remember very well when Woody Guthrie and I met. Woodrow Wilson Guthrie, one of the great folk ballad makers of this century, wrote more than 1,000 songs between 1932 and 1952. Born in 1912 in Okemah, Oklahoma, In 1935, he drifted to California, along with thousands of other Okies, forced by dust storms and depression woes to leave their homes. Made a living singing in saloons, occasional fly-by-night radio programs, and later for union meetings, parties, political rallies, dance and theater groups, and the Library of Congress Folk Song Archives. We met in 1940 at a midnight benefit concert for California migratory workers. I was 21 in 1940. He was 27. He said, "Hey, Pete, you ever been west?" Well, I had to confess, never. Woody said, "Well, Pete, I got to drive out to see my wife and family out there in Texas. Tag along?" Woody was like my big education, learning about America. I went out west with him to the panhandle of Texas, and along the line, he taught me how to sing in saloons. Woody also taught me how to hitch a ride on freight trains. When Woody went to the hospital in 1952 with a wasting illness, Huntington's disease, young people with their guitars and banjos were already singing his songs and making him famous around the world. Why are the songs great? Above all else, what the songs show is the genius of simplicity. I sang his songs with thousands of people, and Woody was right there beside me, strumming along. His life is in the words sung from our lips. I know his songs will go traveling around the world and will be translated into many languages during the coming centuries and will be sung by many people who never heard his name. What kind of immortality could a man want?
It's a mighty hard road that my poor hands are cold. My poor feet had traveled the hot and dusty road. Out of your dust bowl, the westward we roamed, and your deserts was hot, your mountains was cold. Well, I've worked in your orchards of peaches and prunes. I slept on the ground in the light of your moon. On the edge of your cities, see us, and then we come with the dust, they take us with the wind. California, Arizona, I make all your crops. It's north up to Oregon to harvest your hops. I take the beets from your ground, grapes from your vine, and I set on your table your light sparkling wine.
Green pastures aplenty from dry desert grounds, from the Grand Coulee Dam where the water runs down. Each state in this union us migrants have been. We'll work in this fight and we'll fight till we win.
Well, it's always we ramble, that river and I. All along your green valleys I'll work till I die. This land I'll defend all my life if need be, 'cause our pastures of plenty must always be free. Our pastures of plenty must always be free. In 1941, I met Lee Hayes. Lee had come to New York wanting to put out a book of Union songs. He, a journalist named Mill Lampell, and myself started singing together, calling ourselves the Almanac Singers. We recorded some peace songs and some Union songs with the help of friends. Woody Guthrie arrived in June, having just ridden freights and hitchhiked from the Pacific Northwest. He no sooner set foot in our apartment when he said, "Woody, how would you like to go west?" He scratched his head. "I just came from the West, but I don't guess I mind if I join up with you." We had just bought a 9-year-old Buick for $125. And within the next few days, made a few extra dollars recording some records. Then, with a little gas money in our pockets, we took off. We sang for automobile workers in Detroit, half a dozen varieties of CIO union people in Chicago, Milwaukee, and Denver, and then San Francisco. In the fall of '41, we settled in Greenwich Village in a cooperative apartment known as Almanac House. People came and went all the time. The cuisine was erratic but interesting. The furniture and decorations, almost non-existent. Sleeping done at odd hours. The output of songs was phenomenal.
Millions, mister. I don't want your diamond ring. All I want is the right to live, mister. Give to me a job again. I don't want your Rolls Royce, mister. I don't want your pleasure yacht. All I want is food for my babies. Give to me my old job back. We work to build this country, mister, while you enjoyed a life of ease. You've stolen all that we built, mister. Now our children starve and freeze. Sing it with us. I don't want your millions, mister. I don't want your diamond ring. All I want is the right to live, mister. Give to me a job again. Take the two old parties, mister. No difference in them I can see. But with the farmer later party, we could set the people free. You never earned those millions, mister. They were produced by working hands. We're taking back our own wealth, mister. Winning back our lives and lands. I don't want your millions, mister. I don't want your diamond ring. All I want is the right to live, mister. Give to me a job again. time. I don't want your millions, mister. I don't want your diamond ring. All I want is the right to live, mister. Give to me a job again. Give to me a job again.
When I was drafted into the Army, my fellow draftees were so surprised to find a Yankee could play the banjo. They called me New York. That was my nickname, and I finally spent a whole year being trained to run the hydraulic system of a B-24 bomber. But then military intelligence got into investigating me. Actually, it was a letter from Toshi to me that sparked it off. Toshi and her father had helped form the Japanese-American Committee for Democracy. She had written a letter on the committee's stationery. G2 was wondering why I was getting a letter from a Japanese-American. Then I found out I was with the Almanac Singers and that I had publicity in The Daily Worker. They forgot all about Japan and zeroed in on the Communist Party. They investigated me for about 10 months, 6 at least at Keesler Field, 4 at Fort Meade. I stayed down in Biloxi, Mississippi, picking up cigarette butts for 6 months. Finally, I get a furlough, and I did something I always disapproved of. I used my pull. My father knew a major in the Pentagon in what they call special services. So I walked up to the second floor of the Pentagon, and the major was behind his desk, and I said, if things go on as they are, I'll spend the whole war picking up cigarette butts. But I'm a good song leader, and if I could get overseas, I think I could be of use to the war effort. And by gosh, I got changed to a special service company and went out to the island of Salpan in the Western Pacific, and I was in charge of hospital entertainment for that little island. I'd bounce around the island in a Jeep putting up posters. If you can entertain in any way, whether you're a magician or a musician, call this phone number. Well, we got 10,000 wounded on this island waiting to go home after being in Iwo Jima or Okinawa, and they could sure use some cheering up. Performing this next song in Pittsburgh in February of 1965, Pete said, maybe this song is timely, because who were the patriots back in 1934 in the country of Germany? They were the political prisoners that got thrown into concentration camps. And this is one of their songs. This song was smuggled out of Germany. It was supposed to have been made up in a concentration camp called Borgesmoor. And at first the men were allowed to sing it till the guards realized what they were singing about.
The Pete Bog Soldiers has been translated into many languages in the service of fighting oppression. Pete used to sing it in English together with this verse in the original German.
Lohe nach das Auge blicket, Mur und Neider im Cherum, Bogul songs nicht herkicket, Eiken stehen kall und grün. Wir sind die Mursoldaten und sehen mit dem Spaten en Mur.
Far and wide as the eye can wander, heath and bog are everywhere. Not a bird sings out to cheer us. Oaks are standing gaunt and bare. We are the peat bog soldiers. We're marching with our spades to the bog. This verse is from the version sung by the French resistance in World War II. Loin vers l'infini s'étendent des grands prés marécageux. Pas un seul oiseau ne chante sur les arbres secs et creux. Ô terre de la détresse, où nous devons sans cesse piocher. Up and down the guards are pacing. No one can go through. Flight would mean a sure death facing. Guns and barbed wire greet our view. We are the peat bog soldiers. We're marching with our spades to the bog. How could an anti-fascist song from the concentration camps not be translated into Yiddish? Auf und ob marschieren Postens, keiner kennt da nit a Reus. Läufen wird das Leben kosten, heuch die Zahm, die Wach ist groß. Wir seien Sumpland Brüder, wir spannen mitten Riedel in Sump. The anti-fascist volunteers in the Spanish Civil War sang it this way.
De nada nos sirven los lamentos, el viento pronto pasará, llegará el día gritemos contentos, por fin la patria nuestra será. Yo no hablo los soldados sufriendo en el pantano. Ya no.
But for us there is no complaining. Winter will in time be past. One day we shall cry rejoicing, homeland dear, you're mine at last. Then will the peat bog soldiers march no more with spades to the bog. Then will the peat bog soldiers march no more with spades to the bog.
The Committee on Un-American Activities of the House of Representatives subpoenaed me in 1955. I answered some questions, such as my name and address, but refused to answer other questions, such as who did I know, and where and when did I ever sing. I didn't use the Fifth Amendment. As my lawyer explained to me, using the Fifth Amendment is in effect saying, you have no right to ask me this question. But using the First Amendment means, in effect, you have no right to ask any American such questions. Since I felt I was in a strong enough position to make a broader attack upon the committee, I chose the second course. And in his August 18, 1955 testimony in front of HUAC, Pete was asked if he took part in a certain performance on a certain date, and Pete's reply was this: "I have sung for Americans of every political persuasion, and I am proud that I have never refused to sing to an audience, no matter what religion or color of their skin or situation in life. I have sung in hobo jungles, and I have sung for the Rockefellers, and I am proud that I have never refused to sing for anybody. And I'm proud of the fact that my songs seem to cut across and find that perhaps unifying thing, basic humanity." As legal counsel Frank Tavener responded to Pete, "That is not at all responsive to my question." A year later, I was cited for contempt of Congress. A year after that, I was indicted. In 1961, I was finally tried. And as Pete said at Foley Square Federal Court in April of 1961, "The House committee wanted to pillory me because it didn't like some of the few of the many thousands of places that I have sung. Now, it so happens that the specific song whose title was mentioned in this trial, Wasn't That a Time, was not permitted to be sung at the time. It is one of my favorites. The song is apropos to this trial, and I wondered if I might have your permission to sing it here before I close." As the judge said, "You may not." As Pete continued, "Well, perhaps you'll hear it some other time. A good song can only do good, and I am proud of the songs that I have sung. I hope to be able to continue to sing them for all who want to listen to me, Republicans, Democrats, or independents, for as long as I live. Do I have the right to sing these songs? Do I have a right to sing them anywhere?" Many years later, Pete introduced this following song before he sang it, and he said, "The same man who wrote the words to If I Had a Hammer wrote another song which tells of American history, and this song helped give us strength back in the days of Senator McCarthy." And just to go off script for a moment here, while Pete did not discuss it publicly much, it is noteworthy at this juncture to acknowledge Toshi, Pete's wife, and her importance. It was Toshi who organized and made the bookings during the blacklist for Pete, who raised the children in a half-finished home while Pete was away during this era, and fed people who came up to Beacon to build the cabin and the barn, and who organized the civil rights singing group, the Freedom Singers, as well, among much more. Without Toshi, there really would have been no Pete.
My great-grandfather helped write that song, Wasn't That a Time, as well, with Lee. He wrote some of the vital verses that I still sing today because I think they're still needed today. So I'm going to sing all the verses all the time.
You know, it's true they didn't let Pete sing that song when he was being interviewed by Congress. But when he got out on the courthouse steps that very day, someone did hand him a banjo.
Our fathers bled at Valley Forge. The snow was red with blood, our faith was warm. At Valley Forge, our faith was brotherhood. Wasn't that a time?
Wasn't that a time?
Wasn't that a time?
A time to try the soul of man. Wasn't that a terrible time? Brave men who fought at Gettysburg, they lie in soldiers' graves, but there they stand. That slavery tied, and there the faith was saved. Wasn't that a time?
Wasn't that a time?
Wasn't that a time? A time to try the soul of man. Wasn't that a terrible time?
Informers took their Judas paid to tell their sorry tales, and kings in Congress had their ways, and free souls went to jail.
Wasn't that a time?
Wasn't that that a time?
The time to try. The soul of man, isn't that a terrible time?
And once again, a madman comes. And should our freedom fall, there is no freedom in a land where one man stands above it all.
Isn't this a time? Isn't this a time? Isn't this a time? A time to try. The soul of man, isn't this a terrible time? Our faith cries out, we have no fear. We dare to reach our hands to other need. We're as far and near to friend in every land. Isn't this a time? Isn't this a time? Isn't this a time? The time to free the soul of man. Isn't this a wonderful time? Isn't this a wonderful time?
I got the idea for the song Where Have All the Flowers Gone from a famous novel by Mikhail Selikov, a Soviet writer from the mid-1930s. It was printed in this country and called A Quiet Flows the Don River, and it tells the story of the Don Cossacks galloping off to join the army of the Tsar over 100 years ago, singing. Then in small type, it gave 3 lines of their song. Where are all the flowers? The girls have plucked them. Where are all the girls? They're all married. Where are all the men? They're all in the army. I said to myself, well, that sounds like an interesting song. I should look it up. So I copied down those 3 lines, but I never got around to looking it up. Meanwhile, about 4 or 5 years later, I was in an airplane on my way to sing at Oberlin College, and I pulled out my little pocket notebook, and all of a sudden, a tune comes to me. I didn't realize that it was an old Irish tune. Johnson says he'll load more hay, says he'll load 10 times a day. Then I noticed a line that I'd also written down, long time passing. And I said to myself, well, that line would sing well. 20 minutes later, I put it all together and had 3 verses. I stuck them on a microphone at Oberlin College and sang them, and they liked it after a fashion. When I was back in New York, I recorded with a batch of very short songs, just those 3 verses. But one of the Oberlin College students, Joe Hickerson by name, bought a copy of the record. He got a job at a summer camp in the Catskills, a wonderful little summer camp called Camp Woodland, the first international camp in the Catskills Mountains. And he was making up extra verses. He also gave it rhythm, because he was singing to kids, and the kids wanted some rhythm to the song. Joe had a verse like, where have all the flowers gone, broken curfew, everyone. But by the end of the summer, he had, where have all the soldiers gone? Gone to graveyards. And then, where have all the graveyards gone? Covered with flowers, taking you back to the beginning. The kids liked that. When they got back to New York, some of them were in Greenwich Village, where Peter and Paul and Mary were singing at a little night spot called The Bitter End. They heard it from the kids, and they thought it was an old folk song that the kids had picked up in camp. And then the Kingston Trio got it from Peter, Paul, and Mary with Joe Hickerson's rhythm and 2 extra verses.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers have all the flowers gone? Young girls pick them, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the young girls gone? Long time passing. Where have all the young girls gone? Long time ago. Where have all the young girls gone? Gone to young men, everyone. Oh, when will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the young men gone? Long time passing. Where have all the young men gone? Long time ago. Where have all the young men gone? Gone to soldiers, everyone. Oh, when will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the soldiers gone? Gone to graveyards, everyone. Oh, when will they ever learn? When will they ever? Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time passing. Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time ago. Where have all the graveyards gone? Gone to flowers, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever? Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Oh, long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls pick them, everyone. Oh, when will we ever learn? When will we ever learn?
This song took a couple of weeks to write. I saw a newspaper photo of troops in the Mekong Delta, and the last line came to me all at once, words, tune, rhythm. I wrote it down in my pocket notebook, then as usual, I was unable to finish it. But it kept coming back to haunt me. I had to do something about it. In 2 weeks of tussling, I finally got it finished. I sang it everywhere I could. At colleges, I got an explosive reaction. In the fall, I got a phone call from two friends, Tommy and Dick's mothers, who had started in nightclubs as comedians making fun of quote-unquote folk singers, and now had a successful weekly national TV show. Their bosses at CBS, overjoyed at their high ratings, had asked what they could do to make their stars happier. "Let us have Seeger as a guest on our show," shot back Tommy. In October, CBS said okay. I flew to LA, sang a medley of other soldier songs on the show, and ended with Big Muddy. We had a rehearsal on Tuesday before the taping, and the CBS censor who sits in on the rehearsals, I was told, he said to Tom Smothers, "I don't think that song's going to be possible to sing. Some people might think it refers to Johnson." Tom Smothers says, "Oh, don't be ridiculous." On Wednesday, I was asked by one of the people on the show, "Could you take out that 6th verse there?" And I said, "No, that's part of the song." The videotape was flown to New York City for the CBS brass to check it before it went out over the network when it was aired a couple days later. Big Muddy had been cut out of the tape. One moment I had a guitar in my hand, a second later I had a banjo in my hand. It was an obvious cut. The Smothers Brothers took to the print media. "CBS is censoring our best jokes. They censored Seeger's best song." Finally, in January, CBS said, okay, you can have Seeger sing it. On 24 hours' notice, I again flew to LA, taped the song. 7 million viewers saw it. Only a Detroit station deleted the song. This was the one time in my entire life I really wished I had been able to properly promote a song and get it heard by the whole country. It could have saved lives. John Hammond, then overseeing my recording at Columbia, agreed to release the song as a single, but neither he nor I had much influence with the sales department. In Denver, a young man told me, "Pete, I was working in the office of the local distributor for Columbia Records when your single of Big Muddy came in. My boss took one listen and exploded. Those guys in New York must be nuts to think I can sell a record like this." "Pete, your record never even left the shelves," said my friend. However, a month after the TV program, LBJ threw in the sponge, said he would not run for re-election. Did this song help? Who knows? P.S. After singing in a Midwest college, I stayed overnight at the home of a professor, and at lunch he came in laughing. At my first class, I started briskly announcing that we had to get cracking on the books. From the rear of the room, I heard some student mutter, "The big fool says to push on."
Back in 1942, I was a member of a good platoon. Out on maneuvers in Louisiana one night by the light of the moon. The captain told us to ford a river, that's how it all begun. And we were knee deep in the Big Muddy, and the big fool said to push on. The sergeant said, "Sir, are you sure this is the best way back to the base?" "Sergeant, go on. I've forded this river about a mile above this place. It'll be a little soggy, but keep on slogging. We'll soon be on dry ground." And we were waist deep in the Big Mud, and the big fool said, "Push on." Then the sergeant said, "Sir, with all this equipment, no man will be able to swim." "Sergeant, don't be a nervous Nelly," the captain said to him. "All we need is a little determination, then follow me, I'll lead on." And we were neck deep in the Big Mud, the big fool said push on. Well, all at once the moon clouded over, we heard a gurgling cry. A few minutes later, the captain's helmet was all that floated by. The sergeant shouted, "Turn around, men! I'm in charge from now on." And we just made it out of the Big Muddy with the captain dead and gone. Now, I ain't gonna point any moral. You can do that for yourself. Maybe you're still walking, you're still talking, you'd like to keep your health. But every time I read the papers, that old feeling comes on. We are waist deep in the big mud. The big fool says to push on. Waist deep in the big muddy. The big fool says to push on. Waist deep in the big muddy. The big fool says to push on. Waist deep, neck deep. Soon even a tall man be over his head. We're waist deep in the big muddy. The big fool says, push on.
A beautiful melody will help tie this world together, and sometimes extraordinary words will. I didn't realize when I improvised a melody to a short poem in the Old Testament that these few words would be some of the most important words I'd ever latch on to. Funny story about how the song came to be put together. About 1959, I got a letter from my publisher complaining, "Pete, can't you write another song like Goodnight Irene? I can't sell or promote these protest songs." I angrily tore a note off to him. "You better find another songwriter. This is the only kind of song I know how to write." I leafed through my pocket notebook to some verses I'd copied down a year before, verses by a bearded fellow with sandals, a tough-minded fellow called Ecclesiastes who lived in Judea like 3,000 years ago. I added one line, "a time of peace." I swear it's not too late. Omitted a few lines and repeated the first two lines as a chorus, plus one new word repeated 3 times. Taped it and mailed it the next morning. Got a letter from the publisher 2 days later. "Wonderful, just what I hoped for." Myself, I was delighted by the version of the Byrds with all those electric guitars, like clanging bells. A day or so after writing the melody for this song, I worried that I was getting into a rut with my melodies. It was so similar to the melody I'd found for the Bells of Rimini, which I'd worked on less than a year before, and a couple others. And on closer examination, I realized that both tunes owed more than a little to that ancient mother of folk tunes, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Both the melodies, Rimini and Turn, Turn, are fairly conventional. One might even say cautious, except that they are more rhythmically adventurous. Some singers have tried to even out the irregularities. I've urged them not to.
Twinkle, twinkle.
I'm just not sure that this one is on. This one is on. Okay, that. Okay, and you've got some sound.
To everything, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And the time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die,
A time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh and
Everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather.
season turn, 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 and a time for every person under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time to love, a time not to hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late.
We can change the Bible if we want to. Karen, there's something that we're adding here.
So Pete wrote all these wonderful verses, and Toshi said, but Pete, there's no verses for kids. And so she wrote these verses, and they're beautiful, these next ones. Yeah. Time for work. Oh, we didn't do the chorus in between, so it threw us off. I was sort of surprised.
I know. We have to call on Toshi to help us with this one. To everything.
Turn, turn, turn. There is a season. Turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time for work, a time for play, a time for night, a time for day, a time for sleep, a time to wake, a time for candles on the cake. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There's a season, turn, 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 and a time for every service under heaven. A time to get, a time to give, a time to remember, a time to forgive, a time to hug, a time to kiss, a time to close your eyes and wish. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time for dirt, a time for soap, a time for tears, a time for hope, a time for fall, a time for spring, a time to hear the robins sing. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, 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 and a time for every purpose under heaven.
So I know we're about to have an intermission. I know that someone's going to speak, but I wanted to make sure everyone knows that David Bernz and Jacob, who are here, David was the one that produced the last 3 of Pete's albums. And Pete used to come to his house and tell him all kinds of stuff. And David made a beautiful book called Chopping Wood, which he has here today, with all those spoken words of Pete all written down. And it's a beautiful book with lots of wonderful photos. And it wouldn't be right if I didn't get up here and say something about it, because he lives 3 hours away in the Hudson Valley. So just I want you to know that David Bernz is here and has the book. So.
I just want you to know, I'm not going to steal your lines because you don't know this, is that this woman just gave birth to 8 limbs.
Well, I didn't personally give birth to.
She's looking pretty good, isn't she? She's looking pretty good.
I think today there's 18 babies, and I still have maybe 5 or 6 more mothers to go. Keeping my fingers crossed that nothing happens while I'm here.
I think we should all go.
Hi there. Charlie and I are just here to tell you a couple things about intermission and about donations for the concert.
This year we've chosen 2 local groups who do important musical work with children.
Twice as Smart is founded and directed by Gloria Matlock, who recently received a Human Rights Award. One of the nominators said, "If there are indeed angels among us, Gloria Matlock is one of them."
Twice as Smart began in Gloria's living room with 7 children who live in public housing, and now sees 32 students after school at the Second Congregational Church here in Greenfield. They've performed at Kwanzaa and in any number of community gatherings. They're powerful performers, devoted to sending messages with their songs, and Twice as Smart is making a crucial difference in their lives. The message Gloria gives them is, think big and dream boldly.
The second group to share the donations is Journey Camp, held in Deerfield at Woolman Hill, now in its 31st year. Yeah. Families say over and over that it changed the lives of their children. Journey Camp is a multi-generational, serving ages 5 to 74. The money we raise today will provide scholarships and support teen leadership training for girls and non-binary youth ages 11 to 18, as well as a residency by a Narragansett educator. Sarah Pirtle founded the camp in 1994 and has directed it these past 30 years. Yeah. At Journey Camp, young people learn that they are world citizens who are making a difference. It's dedicated to non-violence.
We've had 10 years of Pete Seeger festivals organized by Sarah that have raised money for many different organizations. This year, Journey Camp is one of them.
And so for today, for these organizations, there are 3 donation baskets that you can visit during the intermission. Twice as Smart and Journey Camp will split what is raised. There's one in the back there, I think there's one in the far back, and I think there's one over in this neighborhood. Just housekeeping, bathrooms are downstairs. You get to them back that way and around, but Stone Soup asked us not to walk farther towards the kitchens back this way because they're still cleaning up from serving the meal earlier today.
And as Karen Brooks has always preempted me by telling you, but it merits being said twice. During intermission, David Bernz has Pete called Chopping Wood, Thoughts and Stories of a Legendary American Folk Singer. And he's going to be right by the table over there, and he's going to host a conversational circle to discuss the book and involve you in that discussion.
And lastly, many performers have CDs, books, merch. It's some in the back, and there's some over here, like in the little nook on the side. We hope you enjoy the nourishment of many conversations before we come back together. Intermission will be roughly 15, 20 minutes. Listen for the singing calling you back to the area here. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, let's take this one. Exactly how they are. Just bring them back. Okay. What's that? Oh, I thought that was so 2 singers. I think this one sounded better. Oh wait, I'll just give you our wireless mics. They sound good. So. In fact, it's right here. So what we want to do,
Testing, 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 testing. Great. Thank you.
well, where am I going to be? Down there? It needs to go more, yeah.
So,
will you be here?
It'll be over there. All right, the base will be over here too, so I'll have to make space for that. David Bernz, I don't think so. All right, we talked about it. I don't think so. I can do that, I guess. Yeah. All right. Do you need one of us?
Oh, yes. I was just...
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, please. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, friends. It is the 15-minute intermission is over. And we'll ask for you to please take your seats. I know it seems like an impossible request, and that you have many more conversations you need to have with everyone around you. But we're going to ask if you please take your seat. It's not working. How about if you hear your seat, we're going to start again, and you get to sing more together and hear more words of Pete. Thank you so much for cooperating with this.
So if everyone could please take your seat.
When you heard the song Waist Deep in the Big Muddy, Charlie King, so Charlie King is one of the central founders of the People's Music Network. And it's important to tell you about that because a lot of the people singing here today met there. So where is Ben Grosscup? Ben, so Ben Grosscup is the executive director, and we wanted to tell you that Memorial Day weekend, just an hour away in Groton, there's a whole weekend like this. That is like all people, singing belongs to everyone. So feel welcome in Groton, People's Music Network, and you've got some flyers after. Now let's hear from Rob Peck, who's the president of the board here.
Good afternoon, my name is Rob Peck. I am to public speaking. As the board chair of All Souls Church, it behooves me to both welcome you and to share three brief remarks. One, we're really happy that this sanctuary can be a hub for progressive, positive change in a dark time. Secondly, on behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, we're tickled to see this place so packed, and we've reconsidered the rental agreement. Lastly, it's a place by your presence that really comes alive. This is a special musical event, but we have some pretty spirited music and some pretty inspiring services every Sunday, and I promise you, you'll have way less of a difficulty finding a seat. So consider this a warm invitation to come to All Souls tomorrow at 10:30. Thank you.
This song is an old spiritual.
And Pete sang it with so many people during the civil rights movement.
With slightly different words than the original. We're adding a verse today for today's circumstances. I think this is what Pete would have done.
And it's a call and response.
So I'm going to ask the people on this side to sing my part as much as possible.
And if this half of the room will please be the response with me. And then the last line we'll sing all together.
I'm on my way.
Oh dear. Let's start again.
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way.
To freedom land.
To freedom land.
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way.
To freedom land.
To freedom land.
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way.
To freedom land.
To freedom land. I'm on my way. Great God, I'm on my way.
I asked my sister.
I asked my sister
to go with me.
To go with me.
I asked my sister.
I asked my sister.
Go with me.
To go with me.
I asked my sister.
I asked my sister.
To go with me.
To go with me. I'm on my way. Great God, I'm on my way.
I asked my boss.
I asked my boss
to let me go.
To let me go.
I asked my boss.
I asked my boss
to let me go.
To let me go.
I asked my boss.
I asked my boss
to let me go.
To let me go. I'm on my way. Great God, I'm on my way.
If he says no,
If he says no,
I'll go anyhow.
I'll go anyhow.
If he says no,
If he says no,
I'll go anyhow.
I'll go anyhow.
If he says no,
If he says no,
I'll go anyhow.
I'll go anyhow. I'm on my way. Great God, I'm on my way.
We're on our way.
We're on our way.
And we won't turn back.
And we won't turn back.
We're on our way.
We're on our way.
And we won't turn back.
And we won't turn back.
We're on our way.
We're on our way.
And we won't turn back.
And we won't turn back.
We're on our way.
Great God, we're on our way.
We're taking back.
We're taking back
our democracy.
Our democracy.
We're taking back.
We're taking back
our democracy.
Our democracy.
We're taking back.
We're taking back
our democracy.
Our democracy.
We're on our way.
Great God, we're on our way.
We're on our way.
We're on our way
to freedom land.
To freedom land.
We're on our way.
We're on our way
to freedom land.
To freedom land.
We're on our way.
We're on our way
to freedom land.
To freedom land.
We're on our way. Great God, we're on our way.
Technology should be put to jobs that need to be done, and very frankly, the thing I'm most worried about and most pessimistic about the world is science. But what makes me pessimistic is stupid jerks like Edward Teller, the inventor of the H-bomb. He says, in a thick German accent, "It is for the scientist to do science, and it's for society to decide what to do with the science." To my mind, that is just as stupid as for a parent to get some deadly poison and put it on the floor where the baby can pick it up and see what's in the bottle. My father, who was basically an optimistic person, as I am, ended up convinced that unless we can get scientists to realize the stupidity of their religion, that there isn't any hope for the world. And most scientists say, I have no religion. My religion is science. Just it's a. And my father said, you think all your decision is made from logic? Yes, every decision I make is from logic. I'm a scientist. My father says, when you decided to be a scientist, you decided it was a good thing to be a scientist. Can you prove it logically? Well, no, you just feel it. Absolutely, says my father. It's a religious feeling that you have. And the great danger is, if the world were destroyed by the misuse of science, could you then say it was a good thing to have been a scientist? Most of these scientists, it just throws them for a loop. They don't know what to say. Well, it's not fair. If I didn't invent it, somebody else would. You know what I say to that? It's just like saying, if I didn't rape this woman, somebody else would rape her. If I didn't rob this bank, somebody else would rob it. Face it, until science wakes up to its responsibility, there is not much hope for this world. If my father were alive, I'd argue, there is such a thing as good science. There can be such a thing as good science. But it's silly to say that all science is just science. There is good science and there's bad science. There's good and bad in everything. There's good and bad music, good and bad cooking.
the guitar coming through? Okay, cool. Sorry, no monitor. The song was first written in 1972 by Bill Steele, and Pete Seeger recorded it in 1977. Garbage. And when Pete reinterpreted the song in 1977, he added a verse to make the final verse more, as it were, political, talking about not just garbage in its physical form, like in the bag, but a much bigger system. And you will hear words in this song that did not even exist in 1977. Mr. Thompson calls the waiter, orders steak and baked potato. He leaves the bone and gristle and he never eats the skin. The busboy comes and takes it, with a cough contaminates it, and puts it in a can with coffee grounds and sardine tins. A truck comes by on Friday and hauls it all away. 1,000 trucks just like it hit the landfill every day. Oh, garbage, 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 garbage. We're filling up the land with garbage. Garbage, 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 garbage. That's your part. What will we do when there's no place left to put all the garbage? Garbage, garbage, garbage. Mr. Thompson starts his Cadillac and winds it down the freeway track, leaving friends and neighbors in a hydrocarbon haze. He's joined by lots of smaller cars, all sending gases to the stars. There they form a seething cloud that hangs for 30 days. The sun licks down into it with its ultraviolet tongues, turns it into smog, and then it settles in our lungs. Oh, garbage, 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 garbage. We're filling up the sky with garbage. Garbage, 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 garbage. What will we do when there's nothing left to breathe but garbage? Garbage, garbage, garbage. He travels through the countryside where fields of corn span far and wide. The cells of every plant exude Monsanto's pesticide. Extractions from the seed supply hydrogenated oils to fry the meals at the nursing home where grandma just died. Mr. Thompson grabs a Big Mac after choosing her gravestone as his arteries clog up and his heart loses muscle tone. Oh, garbage, 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 garbage. We're filling up our bodies with garbage. Garbage, 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 garbage. What will we do when there's nothing left to eat but garbage? Garbage, garbage, garbage. Getting home and taking off his shoes, he switches on the cable news. The kids all have their iPads and Netflix in one ear. Every screen shows brutalities and alternate realities when suddenly a tweet storm from the president appears. Their social feeds explode, the world fills with dread, and every comment references the nonsense he just said. Oh, garbage, 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 garbage. We're filling up our minds with garbage. Garbage, 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 garbage. What will we do when there's nothing left to listen to? Nothing left to scroll down through? Nothing left to talk about? Nothing left to care about? Nothing left to see? And nothing left to be but garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. Mr. Thompson hits the Apple Store after searching Google for the latest iPhone features to feel trendy and self-made. The parts use rare earth elements from countries where regiments maintain supply lines with checkpoints and brutal raids. Hungry orphans cry in fear in the town next to the mine. And Apple CEOs sail yachts while drinking vintage wine. Oh, garbage, 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 garbage. We're treating other countries like garbage. Garbage, 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 garbage. What will we do when this system breaks apart and there's no principles or heart? Our kids will read in history books about CEOs and other crooks, feudalism and slavery and nukes and all their knavery. To history's dustbin they're consigned, along with all the other kinds of garbage.
Until the 1930s, the American labor movement was also Jim Crow. They had it written into their constitutions, white only. It was the radicals that came along and said, we're not going to be able to get what we want for our unions and for our working people unless everybody is involved. In the 1930s, this song was made up. Of course, it used to be an old gospel song. Jesus is my captain, I shall not be moved. We Shall Overcome was another union song. It made very significant change. Instead of I will be saved, we, that wonderful first person plural.
Thank you, Ben Grosscup, for making that incredible song even more incredible.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. We'll stand and fight together. We shall not be moved. Stand and fight together. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. Black, brown, and white together, we shall not be moved. Black, brown, and white together, we shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. Thank you, Cory Booker, we shall not be moved. Thank you, Cory Booker, we shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We will not be, we shall not, we shall not, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved.
So back in 1980, Pete chose this verse to sing. He sang Straight and Gay Together, but today we sing
Where's my dictionary?
LGBTQI, we shall not be moved.
LGBTQI, we shall not be moved just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. Time to raise our voices, we shall not be moved. Time to raise our voices, we shall not be moved just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved.
Protect our only planet.
We shall not be moved. Protect our only planet. We shall not be moved just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved.
Power to the people.
Power to the people. We shall not be moved. Power to the people. We shall not be moved just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved.
Sing it one more time.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved.
As a kid, I'd been a nature nut. Age 15 and 16, I put all that behind me, figuring the main job to do was to help the meek inherit the earth, assuming that when they did, the foolishness of the private profit system would be put to an end. But in the early 1960s, I realized that the world was being turned into a poisonous garbage dump, and by the time the meek inherited the earth, it might not be worth inheriting. About this time, I also fell in love with sailing. I started earning money and got a little plastic bathtub of a boat. Such poetry. Sailing on the Hudson, I saw lumps of toilet waste floating past me. The ironies of private affluence and public squalor got to me. I'm really proud to have been part of a movement that started to clean up the river. Part of the reason for it is an extraordinary sailboat that a bunch of people built, raised money for 3 years, and built a replica of the old cargo boats that used to carry lumber and bricks. They had hundreds of them on the river back in the 19th century. We built this boat and had a vote to call it Clear Water. Of course, the water wasn't that clear when we started sailing, but it's gotten clearer. And the way we do it, it's kind of a soft sell. We stop in at a town and we say, let's have a festival, right on the dirty old riverbank. And we have music and food and a little education and propaganda too. This song has been sung many different ways. When I first made it up, I sang it very freely. I opened with the guitar. Arlo Guthrie used to sing it rhythmically with his pounding electric band Shenandoah. You who hear this, decide for yourself what's the best way.
So, hi, I'm really honored to be able to sing this simple but beautiful Pete Seeger song with Christy, Grescek, and to have Ben Grosscup play the backup guitar. I've actually been singing Pete Seeger songs since the 50s when I was in college. I'm giving my age away. And they always have a wonderful feeling for me. This song I really only learned recently. And as you know, Pete has a lot more political songs. And Ben Grosscup just sung us one of those called Garbage. And Ben's great new verses, The Folk Music Process at Work. Pete would have loved it. And you know, Pete's other political songs help us connect the dots between fossil fuels, dark money in politics and the media, poison bombs, denial of rights, climate denial, the continued corruption and unhoarding of wealth by fossil fuel and corporate interests. This song is a more simple celebration of nature and its beauty, and it also expresses a love of humanity as it celebrates our togetherness with one another in the natural world. Because Pete suggests here, we're all travelers from near and far. We have neighbors and immigrants, those at home, those on the road, on this winding highway of the River of Life. So here's how we're going to sing this song. We invite you to sing along and repeat the last phrase of each couplet. For example, the first 3 verses, we'll ask you to sing, "Yet I was never alone." You just repeat that after we repeat it, we sing it. And "I was not far from home" on the second couplet for a couple of verses. Then we'll repeat the first verse, redefining the whole thing to our Golden River with the obvious changes, so you can just follow along.
Sons and daughters, golden sparkles in the foam, and I was not far from home, and I was not far from home.
Jose Marti was born in 1853 and was one of the world's greatest writers. At age 17, he was banished from his home in Cuba because he was active in the movement for independence from Spain. For the next 25 years, he made a living as a journalist, including 12 years in New York. In 1895, he went back to Cuba and was killed in an abortive uprising, age 42. In 1891, when Martí was temporarily in New York, making a living as a journalist, as he had all of his life, but on the side writing novels, plays, and poems, he was sick with indecision. I want independence for Cuba, but I don't want to hurt Spain. Spain is the mother country, and if we do get independence, how do we keep Cuba out of the claws of the great eagle of the North? He didn't have the answer to that, and it was putting him into great indecision. His doctor said, "Jose, you are making yourself sick with studying and thinking. Go up to the country. Go walking in the woods. Get your health back. That is most important." Although he was born in Cuba, I found out he wrote the words to Guantanamera only 13 miles from where I learned the song at Camp Woodland in Phoenicia, New York. That's where Jose Martí rented a room for the summer and wrote over 150 little stanzas. A year later, his friend said, "You must publish these." So it came out in 1891 as Versos Silencios, which means simple verses. Over 100 years later, the Cuban composer Julian Orbán found that Martí's stanzas fit well with the well-known melody of Guantanamera. In 1950, a young man named Hector Agulo was one of Orbán's students. 10 years later, he was studying at Manhattan School of Music, and he took a summer job in the Catskills at Camp Woodland. Angulo was able to select just the right stanzas out of almost 200 to teach the children at the camp. I visited the camp that year to sing to the kids, but at the end, they wanted to teach me the great new song we learned from our counselor. They brought me to Angulo, who taught me the song. Martí's philosophic verses ennobled the old melody, and I have sung Guantanamera ever since. I performed it in 35 countries on 4 continents, and it rings true in every one.
Yo soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Yo soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Y antes de morir me quiero echar mi verso de alma. Guantanamera, Guajiro Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajiro Guantanamera. Mi verso es de verde claro y de un carmín encendido. Mi verso es de verde claro y de un carmín encendido. Mi verso es un cielo árido que busca en el mantamado. Guantanamera, Guajiro Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajiro Guantanamera. Con los pobres de la tierra quiero yo mi suerte echar. Con los pobres de la tierra quiero yo mi suerte echar. El arroyo de la sierra me complace más que el mar. Guantanamera, Guajiro Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajiro Guantanamera, Guantanamera,
Wahiro Wantanamera, Wantanamera, Wahira Wantanamera.
"1970. I was at home and the telephone rings and a German accent said, 'Are you the Pete Seeger that writes songs?' And I said, 'Yes. My name is Otto Preminger. I need a song about the will to live.' I said, 'Well, that's my business.' He said, 'Can you come down and see the rough cut of my film?' So a couple of days later, Toshi and I found ourselves viewing the film, Tell Me That You Love Me, Junie Moon. He says, 'I need a song to go under the titles at the beginning of the film.' It's an interesting story about three people who meet in a hospital and pool their meager resources to get a house. One is a young woman who has had her face permanently scarred by a man who threw acid after she had laughed at him. Another is a gay man who is in a wheelchair for the rest of his life for making an advance to the wrong person. Another is a young man who is epileptic and never knows when one of his seizures will kill him. These three people all have strikes against them, but the movie shows the possibility of working together and not giving up. So I got 5 or 10 ideas for a possible song. Some old gospel songs with some new verses or lines, and we fly out to Los Angeles. Otto Preminger says, 'Can I hear the song?' And I say, 'Well, I have several.' I sang them, and I could see that he was not enthusiastic about any of them. We then fly to Fresno. Well, nothing works like a deadline. I borrowed a pencil from Toshi, and with the drone of the plane in my ears, I dredged up some verses that had been hanging around the back of my mind for a while, and I got a tune derived from old ballads. When we got to Fresno, I sang them, and Otto Preminger said, 'Oh, this will do very well. Why didn't you sing this to me first?' I said, 'Oh, I just made it up.' He said, 'Don't tell me that. You had it the whole time.'"
Let me see, do I have a hot mic here? Hello, hello, how's this one? Is this hot? So let's all just take a breath and be present. It's very poignant time of history where we choose here to gather with open hearts, faith in the truth of who we are in the world, no countries, no religions. We're here with our faith, and we're going to keep walking forward, and it's a beautiful thing to see so many people, our friends. I always say people are just friends I haven't met yet, so we're all in the right place. And I wanted to say this too. I have a little button here. That's Juanita Nelson. She's a good friend of mine.
Yay, Juanita.
Wally Nelson. Yeah. So I took a little pilgrimage up to Woman Hill because I was getting some water for musicians there, and I went up on the hill of which I've spent many a year, and I kind of said to Wally, what am I going to do here? What would you do? And I listened, and he told me Dr. Martin Luther King. That was his message. Nonviolence. And that's what he stood for, that's what he lived for, and that's what he believed in. So I'm bringing that back to you. And I know we shall overcome, and we will succeed in the seemingly darkness. The light is shining. You're going to do the first verse, right?
Yeah, together.
On blue sky above us, One ocean lapping on our shore, one earth so green and round. One earth so green and round. Who could ask for more? Who could ask for more? And because I love you, and because I love you, I'll give it one more. I'll give it one more try to show our rainbow race, to show our rainbow race. It's too soon to die.
Some want to be like an ostrich.
Some people want to be like an ostrich, bury their heads in the sand. Some folks think all their plastic dreams can unclench all those greedy hands. Some folks want to take the easy way out. Poison bombs, they think we need them. Don't you know you can't kill all the unbelievers? There's no shortcut to freedom. One blue sky above us, one ocean. One ocean lapping on our shore. One earth so green and round. One earth so green and round. Who could ask for more? Who could ask for more? And because I love you, and because I love you, I'll give it one more try. I'll give it one more try to show our rainbow race. It's too soon to die. Go tell all the little children. Go tell the mothers and fathers too. This is the last chance we have to share what's been given to me and you. One blue sky above us, one ocean. One ocean lapping on our shore. One earth so green and round. One earth so green and round. Who could ask for more? Who could ask for more? And because I love you, and because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show our rainbow race. It's too soon to die. One blue sky above us, one ocean lapping on our shore, one earth so green and round. Who could ask for more? And because I love you, I'll give it one more try to show our rainbow race. It's too soon to die.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you, honey. You did good. Yeah, you did good. She doesn't color between the lines.
All right, this comes from an excerpt I found down at the American Folk Life Center at the Library of Congress, where I was about a month ago. And this is an interview that I couldn't find online. I had to go from there. It's an interview that David Dunaway, Pete's biographer, did with him. It's just an excerpt from one I had never seen before. July 15th, 1979. Pete says, "Sometimes I wish I could live on a boat," said Seeger, staring off out of the window towards San Francisco Bay. "I would just touch land every week or so to pick up my mail or meet some friends. Then I'd be out, off by myself on the water." And Dunaway described Pete's this way, Pete's mood at the time. Seeger's mood was one of clear-sighted fatigue, having performed 5 days running, 4 of them benefits. On top of all this was the fatigue of jet lag, of pushing himself to sing beyond the point where his voice could comfortably go. And Pete said, "Really, that's one of those last of those large concerts I ever hoped to do. It takes so much getting people singing. It's time for others to take over. I love to make my music, but I love my home too. There are others who can do it."
Adam, you did such a great job organizing today. But with all the best plans, things happened, and it turned out this next song was going to be sung by Sandy Pliskin, but she wasn't feeling well and couldn't come. So at the last minute, the three of us are going to cobble this together. I'm really glad to have my son Jacob Bernz right here. What do you think the chances are of 2 banjos being in tune? Swimmers churn, the lovers burn. Peace, may the generals learn when I'm far away.
Well, may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well, may the world go when I'm far away.
Well, may the fiddle sound, the banjo play the old hoedown. Dancers swing round and round when I'm far away.
Well, may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well, may the world go when I'm far away.
Well, fresh may the breezes blow, clean may the waters flow, blue above, green below, and I'm far away. Oh,
Well, may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well, may that world go, and I'm far away. Well, may that world go, the world go, the world go. Well, may that world go, and I'm far away.
well, may we train our ears to hear with hope, not with fear. Work for justice every year when I'm far away. Well, may
the world go, the world go, the world go. Well, may that world go when I'm far away. Well, may that world go, the world go, the world go. Well, may that world go when I'm far away.
Thank you much.
I was 17 in New York City when I first met Huddy Ledbetter. He was gray-haired in his late 50s. His powerful, ringing voice and his muscular hands moving like a dancer over the strings of his huge 12-string guitar. His honesty and pride showed he was a working man. He was wonderful singing with children. He'd get them singing with him, clapping their hands and swaying their bodies. That Leadbilly survived prison at all is remarkable. Perhaps the guards liked to keep him to entertain them with his guitar. I guess he learned what so many black entertainers have had to learn upon occasion: make a fool of yourself and take the white fool's money. But he stayed alive and he got out of prison. Up north, he met a new kind of white people, the enthusiastic young people in the progressive movement in New York City. He never wanted to live in the South again. He and his wife, Martha, had a little flat on the Lower East Side. Woody Guthrie and I visited him there often and made music with him till the neighbors complained of the noise. I was proud that he accepted me. Perhaps he wondered at my earnestness trying to learn folk music. Well, one year in 1949, he started having to use a cane to go on stage. His voice, always soft and husky when speaking, still rang out high on the melodies, but his hands grew stiffer and less certain on the guitar. Then one day, he was gone, and we were left with regrets that we had not treasured him more. If he could have lived 10 more years, he would have seen all his dreams as a musician come true. Young people by the millions learning and singing his songs.
Well, you wake up in the morning, every jingle all ring. You march, you're at the table, it's the same old thing. You see it on the table, knife, a fork, and a pan. You say anything about it, you're in trouble with the man.
Let the midnight special shine your light on me. Let the midnight special shine your ever-loving light on me. Yonder comes a Miss Rosie. Yeah, how in the world do you know? Well, I'd know her by her apron and the dress she wore, umbrella on her shoulder, a piece of paper in her hand. Yeah, she's marching to the captain, said, I want my man. Let the midnight special shine your light on me. Oh, your light on me. Let the midnight special special. Shine your ever-loving light on me. If you ever go to Houston, Lord, you better walk right. You better not stagger, and you better not fight. No, the sheriff, he'll arrest you. Yeah, he's bound to take you down. Yeah, you bet your bottom dollar you'll be jailhouse bound. Let the midnight special shine your light on me. Oh, I can't hear you. Let the midnight special shine your ever-loving light on me. Now, old Cutie Ledbetter, he done taught us this song. Yeah, he went and he sang it round this big round world, but now he's done with all his singing, a whooping, a hollering, and a crying. All he's done with all his studying of his great long time. Let the midnight special shine your light on me. Yeah, the light on me. Let the midnight special shine your ever-loving light on. One more time. Let the midnight special shine your light on me. Hey, 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 hey. Let the midnight special shine your ever-loving light on. Your ever-loving light on. Your ever-loving light on me.
Thank you.
Betsy and Ann, all performers, come on up. Betsy and Ann, we got Charlie. Why, it just so happens we have an encore. But you know what? I think you should hear everybody's name. So, Andrew, let's start with you, and we'll just roughly make sure we guess everybody's name, but the famous hold your applause to the end. Okay? Let's just find out who is here. Are Betsy and Ann here?
I'm Pete Seeger.
Hold that to this group. You guys get that.
Just keep going.
Couldn't hear what you would
Or Andrew.
I'm Andrew Freese. That's it.
Hold your applause.
I'm Ben Grosscup.
Make sure you get the folks behind you. Step right up. Step right up and share your name.
I'm the noisy Karen Brooks.
Betsy Sokol. I'm Molly Scott.
Court Dorsey.
Christy Grescek.
I'm Hannah French.
Ann Ferguson.
Annie's the name, music's the game.
Thank you.
Lynn Benander.
And Yosl Kurland.
Dan Post.
David Bernz.
Jake Bernz. Charlie King.
Hey, Charlie.
Got one more person. Charlie, next to you. Ann. I don't think everyone got your name.
No. Wait a minute. Let's get
Let's
everybody.
get everybody.
And of course, that's Sarah Pirtle right there, as though you didn't know.
Hi, I'm Michael Nix.
Michael Nix.
Scott Randall.
Anybody not get to speak?
Ben Tousley.
Ben Tousley.
So we're more than 20 people, and Many of us are People's Music Network people, Children's Music Network, and it's great. So thank you so much for this wonderful support and back and forth that we've been doing. You might be able to guess that our last song is If I Had a Hammer, but Lee Hayes and Pete together. I wanted to just give one more huge thanks to Adam Morse. This is the first time this has happened. It won't be the last. We're taking all this energy over to the green for a singing stand-out. So let me just look at the time. Oh, just what we thought. So it's only in 25 minutes that we're due at the green. So we thought it could be fun to kind of dance and sing, and with the banjo leading us. People have brought signs. So is it still raining? Darn.
Let's sing it in here.
Well, nothing will stop us. So if it works for you, we are welcome at a standing, because let's picture ourselves. We're in a constellation with people all over the world today. A constellation. And we spread this, and we end with this beautiful song.
In 1949, Lee Hayes and I wrote a song. And we never expected it would be widely sung, perhaps me and a few more. But lo and behold, a rock and roller made a record of it, and the song is all around the world now. Now, the interesting thing is that there's not only 2 ways of singing this song, but there are 5 or 6 different ways. But I found that they nearly all harmonize with each other. Now, there's a moral here somewhere. It means that you can sing it the way I wrote it, or the way somebody else changed it, or the way somebody else changed it, and they all harmonize together.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. Ring out danger, ring out danger, warning. I'd ring out a warning, ring out love, I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out warning, I'd sing out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Well, I've got a hammer, and I've got a bell. Songs to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice. It's the bell of peace. Brothers and sisters, all over this land.
So on behalf of the musicians, wonderful group of people, there is a donation box in case somebody missed giving a little donation. Where are those boxes? In the back. Please donate. Those donations are going to go to a worthy cause that Pete would have wanted to be in. And thank you again for coming. Take heart. Keep the peace, and we're going to keep on walking forward. Thank you so much for coming.
And don't forget to come back tomorrow morning at 10:30.